In northern China, governments have released floodwaters to protect large cities in recent days, resulting in widespread flooding and severe damage to the people. For the victims, they survived the flood, but how to survive in the future is a problem because the flood has destroyed everything, and the government offers almost no assistance. On August 11, 2023, the authorities of Baoding City, a city ravaged by the flood, issued a notice which read, "Families of victims who lost their lives in the flood can be compensated 20,000 yuan per life, that is US 2,700. Peasants whose houses have collapsed can be compensated up to 40,000 yuan or US 5,500. Those whose houses didn't collapse can be compensated with 5,000 yuan or US $680. Peasants whose fields have lost the harvest can be compensated 9 yuan per mu. That is US $1.25 per acre." On the same day, on August 11, 2023, the People's Government of Hebei Province also held a press conference. Its vice governor announced that the death toll in the entire affected area was 29 people, and 16 were still missing. As of Thursday, 29 people were killed in disasters triggered by the recent round of heavy rain in Hebei Province. Among them, 6 were previously counted as missing, and 16 others remain missing. The rescue team has been going all out in searching for them. Is the government's claim true? Let's look at the account given by a villager in Hebei. After the flood, the village was hit by a mudslide. Many houses were buried, and 14 people from his family alone lost their lives. Now we see piles and piles of excavated soil. The surviving villagers are guiding the excavator to dig up certain places where bodies might be. Whether our missing loved ones are buried or washed away by the mudslide or flood, we don't know. We can only dig. When we dig one body, we bury one. Those who don't turn up are gone. You guys just saw him kowtowing as he entered the village, right? Well, every place where you see a pile of paper ashes represents a person that was found, and then the excavators are still digging and digging. It's a total of 14 people. Everyone, I'm willing to be legally responsible for what I said. A total of 14 people disappeared, dead, and in some cases the bodies haven't been found. A prominent media personality in Beijing released a screenshot on August 8th showing that the village of Shize in Zhuozhou, Henan Province was wiped out by the floodwaters, with only one young man surviving, while the smallest village in the area had a population of more than 500 residents. Moreover, a Zhuozhou netizen described a tragic case on August 3rd where a small baby was found floating on a wooden plank when both of its parents disappeared in the flood. No one knows how many people lost their lives in the flood. A Zhuozhou reporter went to visit a family and found bodies floating inside. He didn't dare to film the gruesome scene. The Communist Party must have been hiding big time on such an issue. No matter how big the death toll might be, it won't surprise me because the flood is so powerful, so sudden, and people have no way to escape, no way to defend themselves. How is it possible to have a death toll of only a few dozen? We can make a simple inference about this flood that happened suddenly, destroying walls and collapsing houses. The whole village is full of people, the old, the weak, the sick, the disabled, and the ones lying sick in beds. How could they escape? Millions of people were affected by the flood disaster, and even for a small percentage, the death toll could be at least tens of thousands. Seeing the death toll announced by the city of Baoding and its compensation policies, the public is outraged, leaving various responses online. It indicates implicitly the death toll must be very high. Only 20,000 yuan for one life. These are monsters on the stage. Even hell can't accommodate your evil. 20,000 is enough to buy a donkey, isn't it? 20,000 for a lost life. The CCP government really doesn't consider us as humans. That's about the price of a decent pet. 9 yuan per mu of land, that's only enough for 20 steam buns. I remember the allowance given to a black international student is 100,000 yuan a year plus a learning companion. How are Hue Minerals comparable to the noble black lords? Hue Minerals is an online term coined by combining the Chinese characters for person and mine. It describes a person relentlessly exploited by the CCP until they are eventually discarded. In a conservative estimate, if the flood discharge resulted in the flooding of 100,000 households and each household was compensated only 300,000 yuan, that's only 30 billion yuan. It's nothing for the country. You know the generous spending on the African states is much more than that. According to the official compensation formula, only those whose houses have collapsed and whose fields have been wiped out are entitled to a small amount of compensation. What about the loss of their livestock such as pigs, cows, and goats, as well as their family properties? Who will pay for them? Let's take a look at a few real cases. Mr. Liu, a peasant in Drazhou, had 20 or so sheep left from a herd of 1,500. Over the past 4 years, he raised 10 million yuan, or about US 1.4 million, with bank loans and sponsorships from friends and relatives to build the farm. He told Reuters that the farm was completely destroyed in the floods. My mood is, needless to say, it's over. I just want to die now. I have been raising these sheep since they were small. I have been investing for 4 years but haven't gained a single penny from the investment. I thought the flood might be about a meter deep or a few dozen centimeters, but it was so sudden and it all rushed in at once. Not only the bank loan, but also the money sponsored by relatives and friends. They all have interest. It's all over now. A household of peasants in Drazhou raised nearly 200 hogs. They were not only their livelihood and assurance, but also the future and hope of the family. But it's all gone with the flood.
On August 5th, I wasn't allowed to go back to the village, but I was really worried about the pigs, so I came back and the water was still above my knees, and we waded through the water. Grandpa was a pig farmer. He helps us look after the children in his old age. We took over the business. We rely on the pigs to cover the expenses for a family of 6. They are our livelihood. There were about 200 pigs, big and small. When we came back, we didn't see a single head. We just saw the big hole in the pig pen, the big hole that was dug out by the pigs. We can imagine how desperate they were at that time.
There are more cases like these. Many peasants who raise cattle, sheep, ducks, and fish in Drazhou have suffered huge economic losses. It's too much to bear. They are overwhelmed, desperate, and hopeless.
The loss is no less than 1 million yuan, or US $140,000. There is nothing left. No pigs are left. There are a few cows left, but more than 80 are dead. No sheep are left. More than 100 sheep are gone. I can't take it. The loss is too big. I've spent my whole life on it.
I've cried twice. I've been raising sheep for 4 years, just like raising my children. When I was about to reap the rewards, now it's all over. Only a dozen or so sheep are left out of the thousands of sheep, and the loss is huge.
All gone. More than 100 or 200,000 RMB or 28,000 US dollars. Where can I make that kind of money? These ducks cost more than $30 a piece. 8,000 ducks in total. A loss of more than 200,000 RMB. All of them were drowned.
Before the flood, I had more than 2 million pounds of fish. I have collected all the dead fish that were on the road. There are still hundreds of thousands of pounds of dead fish in the water. I need people to help me take them out to be disposed of together. The total loss is estimated to be about 30 to 40 million yuan, or US 4 million. The loss is not only to the peasants, but also to the 700 shops in Baoding City agricultural products wholesale market. When the flood came, the locals were caught off guard and didn't evacuate in time. All the shops were flooded and merchandise was destroyed. The vegetables, fruits, aquatic products, etc. were wasted overnight. The loss of each shop is an average of hundreds of thousands of yuan, i.e. at least 30,000 US dollars.
The flood took everything from me. All my stuff is here. I'm the mainstay of this mall. If I go down, they won't be able to survive. I can't get through. All the merchants have cleaned out their stuff.
市场没有幸免的。我们的
The
蔬
market
菜、
didn't
水
survive.
果、
Our
水产
vegetables, fruits,
一
and
夜
aquatic
间
products all became
全部在
garbage
市场
overnight.
淹没。
Merchants like
特
us
别
were all
心疼我们
flooded
的
in the
车，
market.
没有它
I
我
was
们不挣
especially
钱，
distressed
我们
about
生
our
意就
vehicle.
已经
Without
整
it,
整
I
11
couldn't
天了。
make money,
人
and
民
our
子弟
business
兵
couldn't
也
run.
在
We
帮我
have
们清
customized
理
the
市
vehicle
场，
and
真
built
的
a
很
cold
感谢
storage
他们。
inside.
有
Now
的
it's all gone
是
after
加
the
倍炮
flooding.
了，市场一切都没了，说着说着都想哭。
80%的数。
80% of the books are gone. This year is the 25th year since we started the business. All the savings of all these years, 25 years of savings, are all in this warehouse. What we must do right now is to figure out how to keep this business going.
能够让这个企业活下去。
According to Chinese state media, President Xi Jinping issued a written order on August 1st to go all out in the rescue effort and sent a vice premier of the state council to visit flood-affected areas in northern China, including Zhuozhou. Zhuozhou's local government said it had swiftly activated its rescue program and that the city's Communist Party leaders were firmly on the front line of the flood relief effort. But what really happened? On August 15th, a video message was circulated online stating that the government has supplies that flood victims can't access. What victims do have is supplies donated by warm-hearted folks. Thank you, the good people of Wuchang District. Now the government offers no assistance. Only warm-hearted people are helping us. Our homes are gone. People are homeless. Only kind-hearted people are thinking of us. The government doesn't care about us. Our village leaders don't care about us either. We are homeless. Thank you for all the supplies that kind-hearted people have donated. You will have food and eat well too. Now you deserve our praise for your spirit. What does it mean to be remarkable? You are remarkable. Auntie, come and have some watermelon. Thank you. Help yourself to the watermelon. Gather together, folks. Do you know why we're all here today? We are meeting here for the first time today. I just learned that his name is Xiao Shui, and he came here to our Wuchang disaster area and to our Xiaohe Island to offer condolences and to cook us a meal. He came specifically to let us know that there are still many strangers in society who are concerned about us, and there are still many strangers who are cheering us up. Xiaohe Island will be their second hometown, and they will be just like our families, relatives, and honored guests. We have nothing, we only have sincere hearts. Let's bow to him and his team. Let's give them a big thank you, okay? There is still news online that 15 days after the Drozhou flood, locals still don't have water or electricity. A video shows that on August 8th, the victims were given supplies that were 1 week expired.
今天是发洪水的第15天了。
Today is the 15th day since the flood. Look, there is still no water. Ugh, there is still no water or electricity. When will we get connected?
这个家呀。
Who would have thought of that? I never did. Heilongjiang province also suffered serious flooding. Many people suffered heavy losses, facing devastated homes with no money to rebuild. Their only hope is for the government to provide some assistance.
Today is August 8th. I'm in the village. Today I came to visit my dad's brother. The flood has badly damaged the place. Houses are damaged to different degrees. Houses in this area are all destroyed and can't be lived anymore. The ones that are still standing are covered in silt, and everything inside is ruined. After the flood, there's a large amount of garbage. So we face the problem of rebuilding after the disaster. We need excavators, as it's hard to clean up manually. Also, people are concerned if there is any compensation from the government. At present, we don't know. The crops most likely will have no yield because this flood hasn't fully receded so far.
The house is finished. It can't be lived in. It collapsed after being soaked for 3 days. I don't dare to enter the house. I moved things out 2 days ago. See, this is where the disaster hit, and people are suffering. Now the whole village, many villagers have moved out. He has no place to stay because he raises cattle and is a cattle farmer. His cows are all scattered on the main road at this moment.
Come on, look. It's a train track over there. When the flood came, it washed the track away. The houses were washed away too. The water is said to be 3 or 4 meters deep. A local family said an old man was in the hospital intensive care unit. He lost his house, but he doesn't know it yet. No one dared to tell him that.
So far, the floodwaters haven't receded in many parts of Heilongjiang province. Finally, let's pay attention to a place called Zhujiang Village. It was inundated by mudslides after the floods. The entire village has been out of contact as a group. No one knows if anyone is still alive. At critical moments, the government, instead of actively trying to find a way to rescue the village, has sent out notices to call for voluntary rescues by civil society. According to reporters on the scene, the flooding had almost reached the roof of the houses, and it isn't clear whether anyone survived. There was no water, no electricity, and no cell signal. So, the odds seem stacked against the villagers, and because of the mudslides and flooding, outside rescue teams and personnel can't enter the area. The local government just issued a notice saying, "Due to the severe flooding, our rescue work is facing the greatest obstacles. Muddy roads have made it difficult to get supplies to the villages. Coupled with the wind and rain from time to time, the rescue work has become even more challenging. The flooding has resulted in the destruction of many areas that are in need of rescue. The rescue force is unable to meet the needs of the villagers trapped in the floods. In order to better rescue, the general public and netizens are encouraged to contribute to the affected areas and do what they can to help. Let's hope we can work together and use the shortest possible time to rescue without delay, as time is life. We must race against the clock in the rescue and save as many lives as possible. We want to remind the stranded villagers that they must save themselves before the rescuers arrive. The country hasn't forgotten you. You must drum up the courage to overcome the difficulties in front of you. The rescue work is carried out as fast as possible. Please share this notice and help those stranded villagers. Time waits for no one. Please share this post.
请点赞、点关注，下期再见。